All right. So I think this is our fourth milestone planning event. So I wanted to run through a couple of things really quickly, but the doc should be in the invite if you want to take a look at that and follow along. I'm going to share my screen just so we can go through and take a look at um, how we've done this month and things that have been pushed out and stuff, and then what we want to accomplish next month. Any questions before we start? Okay. And Crystal, since you're new, it's probably beneficial to go through this really quickly with you. But once a month, we'll do a milestone planning event. We'll look at what we accomplished in that current milestone that we're in, and then plan out like what we want to work on and agree to for the next milestone. Milestones for the FP&A team right now, we're just doing on a monthly cadence. So basically, anything that we can get done, any task that we can get done within a month. Cool. All right. I think this one will be pretty short. Hopefully it will be, but oops. Give me 1 second. Share my screen. There we go. All right. So I wanted to see like what we've learned this month. Each month I'm going to ask us this just to kind of see how it's doing, if it's working well. I've noted one thing here that, although we are improving, I think we are still struggling to use GitLab issues for a lot of the work that we do. And I know it's been a concern just because of the line of work that we're in. It's difficult sometimes to get everything into an issue, especially ad hoc stuff. But I wanted to see what y'all's thoughts were on that. Anything else that we've learned from this current milestone?
What are people's feelings on the repetitive tasks like KPI metric meetings? I spend a fairly significant portion amount of time prepping those for my groups every month, but it's not something I've ever put in an issue because it's the same thing, and I need to reach out to people to get the info, I guess.
Yeah, one thing that I do when it's repetitive is I've created multiple issue templates, and that way it serves as like a checklist that I have to do like every month or whatever the time frame is. And I tag anybody that needs to be involved with that, and it seems to help out pretty well. It helps me out, like at least when I'm looking through the board, to be able to make sure that I'm staying on track, and then also checking the boxes off that I need to. That's one way that like repetitive tasks that I've done seems to work pretty well, but there could be a better way.
So I like that, but full transparency, I don't do that. But that's the way it should be done, I think. I don't know how many people contribute to yours for the monthly reviews. I've got quite a few, and none of them do it the same way. I've got one leader that sends it to me a week and a half to do my slides, and I have one that does it a day before. So, like, there's no easy way to do it. I think yours is a little bit different though, because you contribute a hell of a lot more than everybody else does, or at least than I do. I mean, I do a slide here and a slide there. You do basically the whole thing. So I like for you to do the what Chase just talked about, because you have so many people inputting to you rather than the other way around.
Yeah, especially for the people function, every job family leader in there is adding things to it. So, and it's really depending who it is, how much I need to follow up. So yeah, maybe a template issue would help me.
Cool. Yeah, let me know if you need any help with that. I can walk you through how I've done it before. It's pretty straightforward, but the hard thing is like things change so much that it's the next time that you go back and send out that issue template, like someone is either in a different role or other people have been added. So it can be a little bit cumbersome, but it seems to work pretty well for what we do. All right, anybody else?
No, I mean, I've just been adding myself when I get tagged on an issue that I need to be a part of. I add myself to it. Now, what I need to do is add that to my little status board, but it's helped, I guess. And then assign a milestone. It's just, I feel like there's a lot of noise in all these issues where you just keep getting emails and emails and emails. It has nothing to do with you. Just someone tagged you, CC'd you, 37 responses ago, and now you're 194 emails into your haven't read.
Yeah.
So
That's right. One good way to minimize the noise, because I totally agree with you. It can get out of control really quickly. Is you can actually come to a specific issue, like right here. Just to show an example. And especially ones that you're getting a lot of noise on, you can just come here and click out of the notifications. And that way, like, you don't have to get it anymore. That's one option. Another option too is just to send everything via email to some type of filter in your Gmail, and that could work. All right. So along the lines of like us trying to improve, especially internally, I want to like discuss product suggestions. So I actually met with Gabe Weaver yesterday. He's one of the 3 GitLabbers in Chattanooga. And he's the PM of Plan. He's going to be working on a cost tracking initiative. So I'm going to be working with him on that. And essentially the idea is that we can create customized templates in issues to be able to track specific things that we want to. So like we could essentially create a customized issue and have specific inputs, and those inputs will theoretically go into a database for us to be able to actually report on. So it could be really valuable for budget tracking, anything that we need to do, like that we do now, especially with like the contract process, being able to get that into some type of reportable format. So that's going to be coming down the line. Another thing too is that I mentioned in July's milestone meeting that it's really difficult to be able to track when things go out of milestones, or when issues go out of milestones, when issues get pushed, stuff like that. The 12.5 release next month, I think it is going to have something called burn-up charts, and it's actually going to be able to track how issues move within GitLab. So we'll be able to see what things get pushed and be able to track our work a lot better that way. I'm pretty excited about that. Anybody else have any product suggestions or anything that we should note? All right. So let's go through the current milestone that we're in. We're in October. I've done some cleaning up, but I wanted to check with y'all before I push these out into November or potentially later in a specific milestone. Israel, I think you're going to be able to complete the budget versus forecast versus actual in Periscope by next week. So I'm leaving this one in October. I think you'll be done with it. So I'm going to leave that there unless you want me to push that to November.
Nope. I think we're close. Just got to put some polish on it and work out a few kinks in it, but we'll have something ready to publish.
All right. Sounds good. Christine, the performance indicators process, I think you're pretty much close to being done, but is that something that you think will push into November?
No, after I do a merge request day, I only have 1 job family left. So
Nice.
I'll get it done in the next 6 days. I just need to meet with the person again.
Okay. Let's see. Joey D is not on here, but all of these you should be able to do by this milestone. Paul and Zach are not here, but this discount for partners may push to November, but I think we've got a meeting next month to get rep productivity or next week to get rep productivity into Periscope. Crystal, we got to get you some tasks in here. Week 4, so we gotta get you some stuff on the board. All right. Anything else before we move on? So the current milestone, at least from after I cleaned it up and stuff, this is kind of what it looks like right now. We have 26 issues. Some of them have pushed out. Some of them I've closed. Some of them other people have closed. But better this month. I think we're definitely getting better at tracking stuff and working off of issues. But this is kind of where we're at right now. So I think we'll have everything pretty much wrapped up by next week.
Hey, Chase, quick question. Is it, this kind of relates to the earlier point as well. Is it beneficial to go back and create issues on things we've worked on and then close them out? Just, I don't want to say to get credit for them, but because I think that's kind of negative, but just to kind of show, that we are accomplishing things over the month. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I definitely think so. Well, I'll say that. Things that have happened in the past, probably we're not going to probably go back and audit it. But I think for getting into more of a discipline to be able to like start getting things into issues, it may be worth doing. But I think it's totally your call.
Okay, like I guess creating an issue is a bad example. But like there's issues that I've been tagged on from like the product tiering model that we built with Kenny. Like that's in an issue already, and I'm tagged in it. I just didn't create a milestone and close it out, and it's done, and it took however long. So is it beneficial to go create that milestone in October or whenever? I think I finished October, and then have see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So if and ideally, like we get to a point where everybody kind of runs their own projects or issues within GitLab. And that way, when we start getting into these milestone meetings, it's like, hey, Brooks, what do you got working on for this month? And what does it look like for next month? And you kind of have everything laid out to where it's like, this is what I have for this month and this milestone. And this is what I have in the next milestone that I plan on working on. And then it becomes more of a fluid conversation of what we've worked on, what issues we have, and then kind of where we're going. So I do think that's a good idea, especially for this call, because it helps us realize like all the stuff that we've been working on.
Okay.
All right, so let's take a look at November. So November, really Q4 right now is pretty light on the issues, and that's probably okay because Q4 is going to be a pretty busy month for us, especially for planning purposes. Let me go back here. I'm going to change our board to reflect November's milestone. And we'll take a look just to see if this aligns with what we want to be able to accomplish in November. I'll hide this. Brooks, you want to run through really quickly on yours that I've either tagged, there's a couple of them that I've either tagged all of us in, like for example, integrated model and the rolling 5-quarter forecast. That's just something that we're all part of, but it helps us be able to track this as a team.
Yeah. Well, then the only other one I have right here so far is going to be that GL account, and it's done, I guess. We kind of switched directions there, and we're not doing that account level. It's the tops down, bottoms up model that I share with you. So I'll probably close that out, given it's just not relevant anymore. I don't know if we have a different category for that. So, but I need to add a couple things into there. Another iteration of the .com UnityCon, and then that epic that I created for all the vendors will probably be done with a couple of them this month.
Yeah, let's take a look at that really quickly. Do you want me to? We need to get these into a label. Would you mind tagging? Number one, tagging like the FP&A label for sure, and then tagging what milestone you think we'll be able to complete these in. And I think that's probably it.
Yeah, let me. I need a level set on what the expectations is from the rest of the business in terms of contributing to this, because but yeah, not a problem.
Okay, cool. Let's see where I'm at. Looks like I've got lost. Hold on. All right, there we go. All right, so for me, the integrated financial model, I plan on having kind of the working model, or at least V1 done next week. And Brooks and Christine definitely gonna be reaching out to y'all to kind of to tie the higher level model to what y'all have already built. Plan on doing that next week, and that kind of goes into like this marketing revenue model refactor. Plan on having that done next week. For some reason, I'm tagged in finance PIs, but I don't know why. Let's look.
Those are the ones to get into Periscope, I think.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So all of these need this. Okay.
I have more to add. I have all the legal ones now, and I have more for accounting and more for finance. So
Okay.
it needs to be updated once I wrap up.
Is this a? Okay, this is PIs. These are not. Like,
Yeah, these are all PIs. I haven't heard anything on like an expectation of when we want them all visualized. I don't know if there's anything communicated to the broader company on when we'd expect to see those.
Okay.
Some we can't do yet. Some of them are future ones, like SOX controls ones. Well, we're still implementing potentially some of those things. So some might not be, you might not be able to do yet.
Do you think because of how big this would be, do you think this would be an OKR?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's a lot there, and there's a lot where we've never tracked before. And so figuring out how to track them and the source of truth, and working with each of the owners of them.
Okay. Let's run this by Paul to see if, to see if we want to make it an OKR. I think it probably justifies one just because of how big the scope is. If not, we can probably tailor it down to some smaller incremental changes and then get it done that way. Because I think this is probably going to definitely going to require Israel to be part of this.
Yeah, and some will be repeated throughout job families. So some you might see in multiple job families, while others are unique to the job family.
Okay.
Hey, Chase.
Hey.
One thing to note, just something that's been on my mind. So it's a lot of these metrics and logic and charts are being repeated throughout the handbook in different places in Periscope. So right now, I don't know if there's a good way to I don't know what the best way is now to make sure they're all kind of in sync. So for example, what's a good one? New hire location factor. That's a good one. So it's repeated out across all of in many different places, but then logic can change and just keeping them in sync. That's just something to think about. Maybe search in Periscope directory one changes. It seems like there needs to be a process around that.
Yeah, probably. I do agree that we need to do a better job of like curating the views that we want to see, because we have a bunch of different charts that are the exact same thing.
Right.
I think that's probably something you and I can work on with the data team, because I think it's more of a bigger issue that we need to kind of wrangle in on the data side.
Yep.
And some of these PIs are KPIs. So like average days to close, that's one of like accounting leadership's PIs, but it's also a KPI. So that's 100% like it's already tracked. It's already there. I don't know if we just need it on another dashboard, or if we're good to go in the fact that it's already measured and already there. So some will definitely be repeats with the KPIs.
Oh, yeah. So maybe some of them is just linking in the handbook to that dashboard page. Then that would be
Could
nice.
be, yeah.
That would be ideal. Like, let's do that first and foremost if we could. It seems.
I'm gonna get Paul's input here to see if he wants these.
Or just a curated PI dashboard, then maybe that's what we're looking for. That's some different.
And I know, I'm not sure if any are like this for finance and accounting or legal, but some of the things we want to track it on a per person basis, and maybe we don't want them public. We just want their managers to be able to see how people are performing. So some we don't want.
Gotcha.
In the handbook.
Gotcha. Okay, we'll work through it.
Yeah, I definitely think there needs to be some cleanup. We've done a really good job of getting things out there. Now we need to go and clean it up.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Cool. Thanks.
All right, Christine, looks like you've got the next. So this is what I've moved to your or it's either in the November milestone, or I've moved it to the November milestone. Anything look out of the ordinary here?
No, the software cost analysis for Alicia, I just haven't got to, so definitely move that to November. G Suite, I need to reach out to Nadia on. I haven't started conversations with her yet on that, so I'm not exactly sure what it entails, but I'm pretty confident it could be something accomplished in November. The other big thing, it's an OKR, but the single source of truth for hiring, I think that's going to take a lot of time in November, even though it won't be accomplished in November.
Yeah, I've tagged pretty much all the OKRs for the specific quarters. I will tag those as the last month of the quarter to kind of get wrapped up.
Okay.
Because I'm filtering on this board just for November, it's not going to show up, but I've labeled it as a OKR for Q4 and tagged both you and I in that.
Okay.
Is that the software cost analysis? Is that going to be like by vendor, by department?
So I was doing it more for Alicia so that when she is negotiating different software, she could do a reference to our GitLab financial model for headcount and things like that. I could definitely get it by division or department, I believe, for headcount. It would just be making sure she knew who she should be using, I guess.
Yeah, I think the idea of the exercise was to, number one, have something that we can use from a modeling perspective to go into negotiating, or to go into negotiations. It wasn't necessarily geared towards what like our vendor cost is going to be per head for GitLabers.
Yeah,
cool.
It'd be more for her to see just kind of what's the benefit of each option, different pricing methodologies, things like that.
Crystal, I think you're working on something with Zach on kind of what does the cost per GitLaber look like for vendor software? Is that correct?
Yeah, it seems like right now there's not really a good way to like it's not super detailed. So yeah, we've been working on building out a dashboard to see the actual like number of licenses and then the price per license and the number of people that are using it.
Yeah, I think that's something that we should, as we build that out, think about, and I would imagine it'll be pretty scalable, not only in like sales and marketing, but also like the rest of the company. But maybe that's
Hopefully,
something
yeah.
that y'all can share. That way we can kind of utilize that moving forward.
For sure. Yeah, I think right now we're still working on like the actual structure and format of it and trying to integrate it so it's like not super manual. But yeah, once we figure that out, we can definitely share it. That's on my list, with the only thing on my list on this board. Yeah.
Do you have that in an issue?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Would you mind tagging that issue to November's milestone and then tagging it to FP&A label? That way we can track it.
Yes, no problem.
All right. Israel, I think you are up next. I can actually move these to November, but a lot of this stuff you're already working on anyway. So this budget versus actual threshold, I think you're going to have pretty much wrapped up in November. Anything that's over a certain percentage, like we just conditionally format it to reflect like a red box or something like that.
Sure.
And then the 6-month trend analysis, that's basically like what we're trying to figure out right now with that drill down functionality. So I think that will be relatively easy to do as well.
Okay.
Take a look at it though. Like I know that this may be something you haven't looked at, but take a look at any of these and see if it's something that you think or feel confident in being able to get done for November.
Yep. Do you feel like we have the data for all three of those?
Yes, we do. So the create budget versus actual threshold, that's just more of conditional formatting on what you have now. So figuring out like how we do that in Periscope.
Yep.
The 6-month trend analysis. So this is one of those things that's kind of difficult to do. So accounting sends us like a master list of transactions, and it's like thousands of lines. And the idea is like we review those and say, okay, well, this specific line item shouldn't go into this department, and we need to be able to reclass things. So we need to be able to come up with a really good way to identify, like, is this expense that's being tagged in the correct call center department? And I don't know how we do that
Interesting.
easily. because there is a lot of transactions.
Interesting. Yeah, we'd have to like search for some kind of commonalities that certain transactions booked to certain cost centers and departments have, maybe, and just try to flag some rows that are questionable, and then put some human eyes on it.
Can't you just kind of started it looking at month over month, meaning that jumped up or jumped down? That's kind of where you'd start. I mean, I've done that before, so I'm happy to take the lead on building something like that. But
yeah, Israel's working on it right now, like with a line, like it's essentially like a line graph per account, and it just shows a trend over time. But I think the problem after that is like once we identify like if there is a big variance, being able to drill down and make sure that it's posted to the right account.
Sure. Yeah, we can take a look at that.
It's kind of a vague thing right now, but it's something that we need to be able to make sure that we're doing. It may not be something that we need to do as a team, but maybe something that we hire into, like a cost analyst or something. All right.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, somebody's going to have to really dig through that.
Yeah, I think so.
Analyze it.
Okay. Joey's not here, but I've tagged him in those two, so I'll talk to him once he gets back from vacation. Zach's not here either. He's got a bunch of stuff.
That's a bunch of issues.
Yes. And then, yeah, so Crystal, you've got this in here. I think that's what we were just talking about, wasn't it, Crystal?
Yep. Yeah, that's the software model.
Gotcha. All right. Is there anything else that y'all want to go over, like any issues or concerns? We're about to go into the five quarter planning cycle, so we're going to be super busy with that. So whatever we can do to kind of not expand our work per se is going to be pretty critical, I think, just to be able to have a good planning cycle. But I wanted to get y'all's input on that.
yeah, I got nothing else. Just that I have a comment, but it's probably better suited for our Monday conversation, so we can hold off on that. I know Christine and I've chatted a little bit about it. Chase and I've chatted a little bit, so just kind of like to revisit the whole issue. But Monday's probably better for that.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Anything else? All right. Have a good weekend, y'all.
Thanks.